Have you ever stopped to think about the hidden machinery that really makes a country run? You know, we're not talking about the politicians you see on TV. We're talking about the deep administrative engine that keeps the wheels of the state turning day in and day out. Today, we're going to dive into one of the most critical parts of that engine in Pakistan.
I mean, it's a huge question, right? Think about it for a second. Who actually decides which person gets to be a top director in the finance ministry? Or who gets moved to lead a huge project over at the Ministry of Health? Well, the answer lies within a single, incredibly powerful body.
And here it is, the Establishment Division. Now, the simplest way to wrap your head around it is to think of it as the HR department for the entire government of Pakistan. But as you're about to see, it is so much more than your typical HR office.
All right, so that's a pretty big claim. Where does all this influence actually come from? How can just one division hold so much sway over the careers of the country's most important civil servants?
Well, for starters, they're right at the very top of the food chain. See, the Establishment Division doesn't report to some other ministry. Nope, it operates directly under the Prime Minister, who is technically the minister in charge. That direct line to the highest office in the land, that's the #1 source of its authority.
And the person leading this whole operation is the Federal Establishment Secretary. Now, this isn't just another stuffy bureaucratic title. This position is considered one of the most powerful and, frankly, most sensitive roles in the entire civil service. And there is a very specific reason for that. It all comes down to this number, 20. What on earth could be so important about the number 20? And here is the breakdown of that power. The Establishment Secretary has the authority to, all by themselves, appoint or transfer any civil servant up to what's called Grade 20. Just think about that for a second. That's a huge number of senior officials. And for the absolute top jobs, grades 21 and 22, the Secretary is the one who prepares the shortlist and sends recommendations directly to the Prime Minister. We're talking about being the ultimate gatekeeper to the top. But the division's power isn't just about moving people around like chess pieces. It's also about setting the very rules that govern the entire bureaucracy, from big picture policy all the way down to everyday conduct. Essentially, the Establishment Division writes the official rulebook. They formulate and then they enforce the code of conduct, the performance metrics, and all the disciplinary procedures for every single person working in the civil service. And believe me, this isn't some abstract theory. We're talking about very concrete regulations that affect daily life. These examples are pulled right from their official site. They issue guidelines on everything, from how government employees can use social media to the mandatory yearly declaration of assets for transparency, and even modern performance review systems. They really do shape the day-to-day culture of public service. So you have this incredible, high-level power over people and rules. But how does that actually translate into the day-to-day reality of a government bureaucracy? Well, it translates into paperwork. A lot of paperwork. You see, the division's authority isn't just some theoretical idea. It is codified, it's published, and it's distributed in a massive body of official documentation. These documents basically serve as the Bible for the entire civil service. Just take a look at some of their recent publications. You've got the ESTA Code, which is this huge, comprehensive collection of all the rules and regulations. You have manuals on staff welfare, annual yearbooks that track everything they've done, and even amendments to the foundational laws, like the Civil Servants Act. This right here, this is the paper trail of power. So what about inside the division itself? Well, it has its own very clear hierarchy. Right at the top, you have this single grade 22 secretary. Backing him up are 2 additional secretaries at grade 21, and then below them, you've got 7 joint secretaries at grade 20, each one probably heading up different departments or wings. And what's really crucial to understand is that even within this powerful division, some jobs are way more powerful than others. This quote highlights the joint secretary of the E-Wing as a particularly influential gig. Why? This person gets to bypass the additional secretaries and works directly with the top boss. Just imagine the influence that gives them. It's a fascinating look at the real internal power dynamics. Okay, so we've seen who they are and what they do, but let's pull back and ask the big question. So what? Why does the Establishment Division really matter? Why is it considered the central nervous system of the entire state? Well, it really comes down to these 4 core functions. 1, it manages the government's most valuable asset, its people. 2, It sets the ethical and professional DNA for the entire public service. 3, as we saw, it acts as the ultimate gatekeeper for all the top government jobs. And 4, it ensures the smooth, continuous running of the state's administration, no matter which political party happens to be in power. To put it simply, the Establishment Division is the indispensable and, immensely powerful administrative core of the government of Pakistan. Its influence is quiet, but it is profound, shaping the very foundation of how the country is governed. And that leaves us with a final thought to mull over. Centralizing all this power can lead to efficiency and stability, for sure, but it can also create bottlenecks and concentrate an incredible amount of influence in the hands of just a few people. So what do you think the implications are, both positive and negative, of concentrating so much power in a single division? It's definitely a question worth thinking about.